Bill, why do you want this job?
I don't think I can have any higher aspiration following my career in government here in Monroe County than being able to lead the institution that has such a vital role in one of the key elements of the future of our community, the future of its young people, and the clear implications that has for the future economic vitality and economic success of our community.
Why do you think you're qualified to have this job?
I think I'm qualified to have this. Well, first of all, I should say it is going to be up to the Board of Trustees to decide who is qualified to be the next president of the college. The reasons I offered myself as a candidate is in recognition of the roles of the president, the multiple roles of the president in the college. This college has stated in its the report that it submits to be accredited as a college, and defining the role of the president. They focus on the role of the president as being externally oriented, with a view toward nurturing relationships with, in their words, political, business, and community constituencies. And so I think that my experience, both professionally and my experience in government, are uniquely suited to those requirements for the presidency, which the college itself has stated.
Bill, the process has been mired a bit in some controversy. If you were to get the job and focusing on, connecting with the community, are there concerns that you have about what would lie ahead of you for connecting with the community despite some of the bad press that has come out through this process?
Well, I think one of the things that I have become very aware of in my research in the academic presidency and in leadership of academic institutions, and also in the conversations I've had with at least one college president here in New York, is that every new president of a college, every one, must go through a period of acclimatization and assimilation into the culture of the institution. And this is true whether it's a person who comes from an academic background, it's true for a person who comes from a non-academic background, it's true even for people who are promoted from within the institution. And the significance of that is that anyone who is appointed to the position of president of Monroe Community College is going to have to go through the process of getting to know the key constituencies that constitute the stakeholders within the college and outside, and to build and to nurture relationships with them. So it would be true that I would have to do that, as it would be true that any other candidate for the presidency would have to do exactly the same thing.
But as somebody who's coming out of politics, especially as a majority leader and being a really high-profile figure, are you worried that being so heavily aligned with one orientation, with the Republicans in Monroe County, that it would be difficult for you to forge relationships across the aisle?
Oh no, I don't think so. I already have perfectly cordial relationships, as I did when I was in the county legislature, with my counterparts on the other side of the aisle, and also with other people in public life who don't happen to have been a member of the party that I was in. But part of I imagine that part of my experience that the Board of Trustees had an interest in, at least to the extent of considering me as a candidate, had to do with my service in government. It was interesting, I referred to the report, the self-study report that the college submits as the basis for its accreditation as a college. And in describing the strengths, it had 2 sentences under strengths, in describing for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education the strengths of the current president. Out of all the qualities of the current president, all of his successes, all of his contributions to the college, they said 2 things. One was excellent relationship with the county executive and excellent relationship with the county legislature. So I believe that my service in government is one of the things that interested the Board of Trustees in considering me as a candidate. Now, having said that, one of the ways that you have a career in government as an elected official is by being a member of one party or the other. That's the way that you get there. At this point, my service in government is a part of my experience, but it's relevant to the selection of the new president because of the relationships that it may bring along, and the ability to understand and the understanding of the governmental world that it may bring. However, the political component of that is, to the extent that it's present when you're in office, simply is no longer there. The president of the institution, number one, has to have and has to project that the interests of the college itself are first and foremost. Secondly, the president of the college, of this or any other college, needs to subordinate any political interests, any political opinions, any views of a political nature that are outside the scope of issues relevant to the college and its success. Those have to be subordinated to the mission and interests of the college.
Speaking of the other side of the aisle,
Yes.
some of those, probably Joe Morelli in particular, I think, has said that if selected, that they're going to perhaps raise the issue with a SUNY board, which would obviously be part of the decision-making process.
Mhm.
I guess, is that a concern for you? Have you reached out to folks on the other side of the aisle to say, hey, can you give me a fair chance through the process? Or, I mean, they've made their complaints known already.
Well, I do not think, or have not thought, that it would be appropriate for me as a candidate to attempt to lobby anyone on my behalf, whether that, regardless of what position they may hold or what party they may be affiliated with. And all I can say is that if I were chosen as a candidate for this position, then that selection would have to be reviewed on the merits of my background and qualifications.
And you mentioned, you mentioned earlier that in the interviews that they talked about issues that were issues close to your heart. What were some of those? You're talking about the interviews with the board yesterday.
Yes. Well, the board asked a number of questions that had to do with issues that I've been paying a lot of attention to as I have prepared myself as a candidate for this position. Issues having to do with things like, as you might imagine, what are the challenges facing the college in the years immediately ahead? How will the college succeed in implementing the strategic plan that it just adopted last year as a framework for the future of the college for its next 5 years? How will the college face the increasing challenges posed by the unique position that the community college is in, of serving such different groups of students with different objectives, aspirations, in many cases different levels of things like reading ability or preparation when they come here? One of the things that makes the community college a unique institution, one of the many things, is that the community college in the United States represents a place where the competing claims, if you will, of open access and excellence in education converge. And the challenge for the community college is to be able to provide the same excellence of instruction and, most importantly, the same student success for all the students who come here, regardless of whether they plan to go on to four-year colleges, regardless of whether they're here for workforce training programs of limited duration. So our conversation yesterday had to do with issues of that nature relating to the core mission of the college.